A whistleblower files a report against Donald Trump about a conversation he had with the president of Ukraine. This could be the death knell for Joe Biden, as it turns out. Hint, things are not going well for Biden in Iowa. And the Democrats finally pulled the trigger, sort of. This is Gene, and you're listening to Dumbasses Talking Politics. What a week! Oh my god, things are blowing up, and I'm freaking pumped. As a matter of fact, I gotta be honest with you, I had other stories to talk about. I wanted to talk about all the kids that were pissed off about climate change, but I couldn't even bring it up because stories are flying from the sky. It's like rain here. And so I can't talk about that. I'll have to talk about that tomorrow. And trust me, yesterday I was working on that Greta chick, that the Greta gal. I actually had stories about that, and I really wanted to publish that today, and I couldn't. We gotta talk about Trump, Biden, Ukraine, impeachment, and I'm hearing a ton of stuff going on. So trust me, we've got to talk about this Greta gal from Sweden who's got some developmental issues, and we're definitely going to talk about that. I am probably going to talk about the bad things about it, but this is the big story. It broke this week. I have finally learned quite a bit about it, even though we don't have anything. So essentially what has happened is that there was a whistleblower. We don't know who the whistleblower is. We don't know what department the whistleblower belonged to. We know nothing about this whistleblower, but there was a complaint filed by this individual that said that Donald Trump was speaking to the newly elected president of the Ukraine. We're still guessing what may have happened, but there are two things that could have happened. Trump could have divulged classified data to a foreign leader, and that's ungood. Or Trump could have made a quid pro quo. You know, I'll scratch your back, you'll scratch mine offer to the president. And essentially what the offer was is, you investigate Biden, I'm going to send you $400 million in military funds. 400 million, 400 billion, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Of course, President Trump vehemently denies the allegation. He says that his call was only a congratulatory call because the president had just won his election. He said there are transcripts, witnesses, and recordings, and he's looking into releasing them along with the actual complaint. Now, hold off on that, because I'm telling you, I'm watching news tonight. It's 6:39 Pacific Coast time, and there's already news about this whole thing. So I'm reading off a script, but we'll get to that whole point. Trump basically dismisses this as another attempt to create a new narrative. Russia didn't work. Stormy Daniels didn't work. Apparently, Trump is like rubber. Anytime you throw something at him, it just bounces right off, and he sits back and he says something. I mean, I personally think this guy can murder someone. No one's going to say anything about it. But Trump decided, you know what? I'm going to kill my political foe, and that is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the only guy that has a chance of winning against Trump. There is no other candidate. Of the other, 68 candidates that are left, Biden is the only one that actually has a chance against Trump. So what Trump decided to do was throw Biden under the bus and say, well, wait a minute. You did the same thing. You were accused of the same thing. He didn't do the same thing. That's allegedly. You were accused of the same thing, and nobody investigated you. Why are you guys bothering me? But that doesn't matter. The Dems have decided it is time to go after Trump, And they have started it. Here come the impeachment hearings. Listen to this.
I have been very reluctant to go down the path of impeachment. But if the president is essentially withholding military aid at the same time that he is trying to browbeat a foreign leader into doing something illicit, that is providing dirt on his opponent during a presidential campaign, then that may be the only remedy that is co-equal to the evil that conduct represents.
That is Adam Schiff, and which, by the way, Adam Schiff had a lot of evidence that he said he had, and he never really had it. So, and they keep saying that Adam Schiff really wasn't for impeachment, and he always was. He was just trying to figure out, okay, well, how can we impeach him? He's just really like crazy eyes about it. I actually have at dumbassestalkingpolitics.com. You can look at the entire video. It's about a 12-minute video. It's really interesting. But this is just the start. Today, I sat back and I counted in literally 15, 20 tweets. There were 12 exclamations of impeachment for Trump. So they really are pushing this whole thing. Now, mind you, we don't know anything. There's nothing there. There's no evidence right now. Trump said no, there's nothing wrong with the conversation. And Trump doesn't have a conversation just one-on-one, nobody in the room. People are listening to the conversations. People are documenting the conversations. And my understanding is it's 3 people. They're all writing, and then they sit back and they read the transcripts, and they determine what they're going to do with the transcripts. But there was really nothing in the conversation that anyone could see. It was to the point that the IG, the Inspector General, sat back and said, I should have presented this accusation to Congress, but it didn't meet any legal guidelines. Okay, there's a problem. But here's the thing. Trump has decided he's going to go on the offensive. He's tired of this crap. He is tired of the hypocrisy with the Democratic Party, and he's tired. He's just spent 2 years being investigated over the Russia thing. Nothing happened on the Russia thing. I mean, I read the report. I didn't read the footnotes. Apparently, you need to read footnotes. But I didn't. I read the report. I didn't read the footnotes. There was nothing in the report that said anything badly. So he has decided to attack Joe Biden about his own little indiscretions with Ukraine that involve Biden's son, Hunter.
On the aid question of aid from a moment ago, did you tell the Ukrainian leader that they would have the aid only if they investigated Joe Biden and his family?
No, I didn't. I didn't do it. But Joe Biden said it about his son. Joe Biden was very dishonest what he did. What he did is he said if they don't do this or that and get rid of a certain prosecutor. Joe Biden said it. But because you're a faker, you in particular, you're a fake news group of people, you don't want to report that. I didn't do it. And I hope you're going to be able to see a call, because I didn't do it. Everybody's looking for that call. And keep going the way you're doing, because when you see the call, you're going to be very surprised. No, but Joe Biden, let me just be quiet. Joe Biden is the one that did a very, very bad thing when he said that. And I think it was $1.2 billion he wasn't going to give unless they got rid of a prosecutor who was investigating his son and the company that his son works for. Then you also say, how much money did his son make from the Ukraine? And then ask another question, how much money did his son make from China based on energy? He knows nothing about energy. So why did he leave China? Why did he leave Ukraine with all this money? So Joe Biden was very dishonest.
This one could be big. It might be the final blow to knock Biden out of the race, because he's going to have a really hard time explaining it. And this was brilliant by Trump. You know something? Wait a minute. I talked to a guy, and you guys, I've got all the evidence in the world. I talked to a guy as the President of the United States, and you guys ignore a story that is as huge as Joe and Hunter Biden, and you're questioning me? Now, we're going to get into Joe and Hunter Biden, and I might be violating the Dave rule. I don't know, just by a little bit, not by much. Here's the thing. The whole Trump story, we're going to get to the Biden story in a second, but the whole Trump story is really a non-story. Trump is the president of the United States. He's going to talk to other leaders. He has to talk to other leaders. He's constantly with people and being monitored. His calls are, we found out today his calls aren't recorded, but they are transcripted. Trump may not be smart, and he's not stupid. Is not going to say anything that's going to get him into trouble, especially since he is going through one investigation after another. He has a ton of people that are telling him what to say and what not to say. So, this is just nothing. And it's going to be completely... they're going to try and impeach him. Well, I just blew the last story. But they're going to try and make something out of this. But the reality is there's really nothing out of this. But here's the thing. The vitriol of the left is just so expected. It is just, this is what's going to end up happening. No one knows what is in the complaint yet. It was an anonymous source. It's not released to Congress because the AG or the IG actually said that, it doesn't follow any illegal laws. It doesn't follow, if the IG doesn't release the report, that means that, or doesn't release the complaint, that means that quid pro quo and release of classified information wasn't in the complaint. So why are we talking about this? Then we find out tonight that the guy who issues the complaints wasn't even present during the call. So he wasn't even there. He issued a complaint. Trump says he'll release whatever he has to, though he doesn't have to. I personally would like to see it. I would like to see, by the way, that smack was me slapping my chest. I'd like to see what he said. I would like to see the complaint. I don't think it's a bad thing he releases all this garbage. Especially if these guys are all talking impeachment. Well, okay, release it. You didn't say anything wrong. I mean, Trump sat there and said, it's a perfect conversation. Okay, perfect conversation. Let's hear it. I don't like the fact that a president should be able to have a private conversation with another leader. I think that's a bad thing when we start pulling other conversations. But if it was that innocuous, let it go. Okay, release it. But we shouldn't kowtow to the complaints from groups or people that are always going to complain. And we should also know something about this person. He's anonymous. He wasn't in the meeting, so why did you make the complaint? Well, this came out tonight. It isn't even in my show notes tonight. That this guy was for an opposite candidate from Trump in 2020. In other words, this guy was going to vote for somebody else. Or this gal, whoever. Anonymous? He wasn't there during the conversation. I'm going to say he because that's just the standard pronoun. And he was going to vote for another candidate. Leaves a lot of room here, right? There's something wrong here. Okay, the Democrats want to impeach Trump over this without any evidence, without any paperwork. They still don't even know what happened. Go for it. But Biden's problems might be far bigger than the problems Trump is going to be facing. I knew this was going to come out eventually, and the reason is because I knew about this, about 2 years ago. And I'm going to give credit to the Dan Bongino podcast because Dan Bongino has been talking about this for a very long time. Listen to his podcast, read his books. He's got 2 books, one called Spygate and one called Exonerated. Exonerated was just released. They are extremely complicated books. They are not the easiest to read. And the reason they're not the easiest to read is because you're dealing with Russian names. You're dealing with the Clintons who are talking to the Russians, who are talking to the Ukrainians. You're dealing with Manafort, who was in the middle of Ukraine. They're very complicated. You may have to read them a couple times. I think I've read Spygate twice. But it really does explain things. And so far, all of his predictions, all of the things he's said, even his conspiracy theories, because Dan Bongino, I love him. He's a Fox News host. I listen to him on Tucker every Friday with the Dan Bongino bomb. He's a great guy. He is a conspiracy theorist a little bit. But he's been right about everything. So I don't know if he's a conspiracy theorist or anything. But I've read his stuff, and it's made sense, and it's hit home both times. So here's the story with Biden. This story has been around a long time. Back in 2014, Hunter Biden got on the board of directors of a gas company called Burisma. He was earning $50,000 a month. He had no experience with energy at all, much less gas. There was an attorney for the government of Ukraine that started investigating Burisma for corruption. Joe Biden, who was dealing with a loan from the United States to Ukraine of $1.4 billion. I think Trump said $1.2 billion. Okay, let's go the lower end, $1.2 billion. Said he would not release the money unless this attorney who was doing the investigation on Burisma was fired. Ukraine fired the attorney. Now, this is kind of open news. It's out there. This wasn't a cover-up. This wasn't hidden. In fact, here's a clip of Biden actually bragging at the press conference that he had this attorney fired.
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko. They would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
So here's the thing. Here's what I think. The big thing is we really don't know what's going on with both Biden or Trump. We have no idea. I can pretty much guess what I think's going to happen with both of them politically. But we don't know what's going on. It's got to be investigated. Well, with Trump in Ukraine, Trump shoots his mouth off. He does it all the time. He is not the most professional speaker. Let's call it what it is. He's not as smart as everyone makes him out to, or as he makes himself out to be. I bet $1 he also shot his mouth off to a newly elected president of Ukraine. Was it a quid pro quo? For $400 million? $400 billion or million or whatever it is? I doubt it. Why? I've got a few reasons for this. The anonymous whistleblower wasn't even in the room when the conversation took place. That's going to be a problem. Sounds kind of like a swamp politics to me. I'm not a conspiracy guy, but there is swamp politics. Let's call it what it is. Trump is willing to release his transcripts of the conversation with the president of the Ukraine. As a matter of fact, breaking news, he's doing it tomorrow. Or if you're listening to this in the morning, he's doing it today. He has said there's no reason not to hear it. Here it is. And by the way, that's a great thing for a president. He's completely open to everything. He's completely transparent. I don't know why people don't see that's a good thing. He's not hiding anything. The last reason, the Democrats don't want to see the transcripts, which is what I actually want to see. They want to see the complaint. Why would they not want to see the transcripts, but only want to see the complaint? Because accusations are far more important to Democrats than evidence. The transcripts are not by one person, they're by three. And those transcripts are compared for accuracy purposes. Evidence for the Democrats doesn't help them. They don't like evidence. To gain proof that Trump is being targeted, he's bringing up Biden's malfeasance. I understand why he's doing this. I don't care for it. Okay? I'm sorry, I just don't care for, oh, well, yeah, I did this, but he is. And it's kind of working. He's hitting the target. Biden is stressing out about this whole thing. I don't have the actual clip here. It'll be in my show notes at Dumbasses Talking Politics. But Biden was questioned about the Hunter connection in Ukraine. And Biden basically said, no, just look at Trump. Yeah, nothing to see here. Go look over there. He didn't have an answer. Here's the problem. The presidential race for the Democrats is getting heavy right now. I got a feeling this may come up at the next debate. Tulsi Gabbard, who has qualified for the next debate, I got a feeling she might say something. I think that's awesome. So, but I'm sorry, I'm going ahead of myself here. As far as Biden goes, there is, again, no evidence he did anything. There's a lot of smoke and a lot of coincidences, but really no evidence. Now, there may be no evidence because there has actually been no investigation. People have been ignoring it, and that brings up the question, should we investigate this? Well, I think, yeah, probably. He's running for president of the United States. But if Biden decided to pull out, I would say, no, forget it. Let him go. He's done. He's done. We're going to have to see what Biden does in the next couple of days. Because I got a feeling Biden might back down a little bit. And he's already losing Iowa. He's already losing a lot of support. Because here's the thing. I really could care less about what Biden did when he was vice president. It doesn't matter. What are you going to do? You're going to put a 2,000-year-old man in jail because he may have colluded with somebody? And by the way, that's collusion. I'm not interested. But this is going to kill his presidential bid, whether he's innocent or not. His gaffes were one thing, but the image of him being corrupt might be the final straw. Barack Obama might have known that. As I've said, this week, Elizabeth Warren is winning the polls of Iowa. I think Biden's run is done, and Elizabeth Warren will be the nominee. And if it turns out that Trump was the reason for this, that Trump actually sat there and said, why are you looking at me at Ukraine? And then he's proven innocent, and he's pointing at Biden, who could very possibly be guilty. Trump did exactly what he needed to do. Get rid of the only guy who could beat him. Because if you think for a second Elizabeth Warren has a chance against Donald Trump, you are insane. He's had a nickname for Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. You should be calling her Pocahontas, but if you think Elizabeth Warren had any chance, insane. She never did. And she doesn't. So Donald Trump, again, the master of manipulation. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, may have just dropped a Moab, mother of all bombs, on the Democrats' chances of winning the presidency, the Senate, or the House for 2020. Let's just listen to this.
And consider whether to exercise its full Article 1 powers, including a constitutional power of the utmost gravity, approval of articles of impeachment. And this week, the President has admitted to asking the President of Ukraine to take actions which would benefit him politically. The actions of the Trump presidency revealed the dishonorable fact of the President's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections. Therefore, today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry. I'm directing our 6 committees to proceed with their investigations under that umbrella of impeachment inquiry. The President must be held accountable. No one is above the law.
Now, a couple things before I get into this crap that she's bringing up. First off, I think it's very important that you folks go to dumbassestalkingpolitics.com and actually look at the speech. I have the speech in its entirety. It was about 6 minutes, 17 seconds or so. And watch how she stumbles through the speech. What is wrong with the people in Congress? Can they not get a good tube of Pepsodent to keep their fricking dentures in place? It was flying all over the place. And even though you couldn't hear it in the sound clip, I mean, she sounded like, she sounded like, I don't know, Biden? Okay, so yeah, they've decided to start impeachment hearing. No, I'm sorry. An impeachment inquiry. Which, by the way, is... Nancy Pelosi is not stupid. Okay? She knows impeachment is not going anywhere in this whole thing. She's very smart. By the way, impeachment inquiry and impeachment hearing are 2 totally different things. They're starting an inquiry. So she says, okay, everyone, all your committees, let's go start investigating Trump, start calling hearings, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. The difference between an inquiry and a hearing is the inquiry is actually done by whoever. The hearing is done by the House Judiciary Committee. The House Judiciary Committee then sits back and makes a vote. In this case, the Judiciary Committee is run by Democrats. It's led by Democrats, so Democrats would win the vote. Once the House Judiciary Committee decides to sit back and say, okay, yeah, we should impeach him, it then goes to the floor for a vote. And they'll have their little discussions or whatever. It doesn't matter. But this is an inquiry. Which means, okay, we're going to investigate this. Here's the problem the Democrats have. They don't have the votes. They do not have the votes. There are a ton of red state Democrats in the House of Representatives that cannot vote for impeachment because their people will not allow them to vote for impeachment. This was a head deek. If Nancy Pelosi was played basketball as well as she did politics, she would have faked LeBron James out of his basketball shorts and slam dunk on him. That's what this is. This is not a good thing for Democrats. You're going to do an inquiry. Okay, great. Why didn't you just call for an impeachment vote? Why didn't you just say, Jerry Nadler, who is the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, make a vote. You guys are going to vote yes. Because when you vote for impeachment in the House, it is, and the Senate for that matter, It is by majority. That's it. If you have 51 senators that want to impeach and you have 49 senators that don't, the 51 wins. It's that simple. But this inquiry, could go on for months. I'll go crazy. I'll go crazy. This inquiry could go for 6 months, 6 to 9 months. I don't think it'll go a year, but I think it'll go 6 to 9 months. And that means everybody is going to inquire, is going to want some sort of a hearing. Once the inquiry is finished, then they'll send it to the House Judiciary Committee to make a vote. That's going to take, again, the House Judiciary Committee is going to do an investigation. That's going to take another few months. And finally, when the House Judiciary Committee sits there and says, no, yeah, Trump, orange man bad, they'll sit back and they'll vote in the House for impeachment. An inquiry basically is testing to see if they have enough votes for impeachment. Listen, there have been 2 impeachments in the history of the United States. I can't remember the first guy. It was 1868, and I just don't care. And then there was Bill Clinton. Neither of them got impeached. They never got pulled from office. And there was far more evidence with those guys than there was with Donald Trump. So this is really a waste of time. And I'm thrilled that they're doing this. I'm thrilled. I want Donald Trump reelected. I can't lie. I want Donald Trump reelected. And the reason I want he's doing a good job. But here's the thing. They're going to lose in 2020 if they go through this. And this is where Nancy Pelosi is really smart. She's really smart because she's saying, oh, we're just going to do an inquiry. That's it. And when the inquiry shows up nothing, because Trump has said he's going to release both the complaint and his transcripts to Ukraine, it's going to be something that they're just going to say, okay, we got to stop. We got to stop. No more inquiry. But here's what's awesome about this whole thing. In the time that they do these inquiries, the time they do these investigations, they hold these stupid frickin' hearings that are published on TV, for Christ's sake. I watch them almost every day at work. It really gives me that's why I haven't had a heart attack right now, because I'm watching them at work. And they're great. I love it. I can do my work. And they're so stupid. They will not have concentrated on anything else, including laws that solve real problems like the opioid epidemic, like the homeless problem, like terrorism. They're ignoring everything else here. This is bad for them. This is not good for them. And in 2020, there are going to be landslide victories everywhere. They're going to lose the House. The Republicans are going to keep the Senate. And by the way, I'm not a huge fan of Republicans. I'm kind of a libertarian. Republicans haven't done anything in the first 2 years of Trump because the Republicans were too busy being whiny about Trump. Half of them don't like Trump. And they'll lose the presidency. And here's what I really think. I think if they lose the presidency, with one of the most unpopular presidents in modern American history, Donald Trump's an ass. Donald Trump is an ass. I almost used the other word. But Donald Trump is an ass. You can't beat Donald Trump. How are you going to beat Nikki Haley? How are you going to beat Mike Pence? How are you going to beat Ben Crenshaw? We could be looking at 20 years of Republican presidents. Oh, that would really throw things in there. This is going to be a disaster for Democrats. Nancy Pelosi took the bait because the leftist base does not know what they're doing. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Oh yeah, it's about time we impeach her. Yeah, good for you. Okay, yeah, it's going to work out for you, just like it worked out for Republicans with Bill Clinton. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about the I don't know what the climate strike. Is that what they're calling it? It's stupid, but I'm going to talk about the climate strike tomorrow. And I'm talk about that Greta Thunberg, who's wow. I'm probably going to speak for a half hour on her little speech, which I thought was just absolutely asinine. This is what happens when the news cycle gets crazy, and the news cycle right now is absolutely insane. So hey, follow me on Twitter at RunninFool, RUNNINFEWL. Visit my website at dumbassestalkingpolitics.com. There you will actually see the show notes for tonight, and you can watch the full videos. And I suggest you do watch the full videos. You can download or listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Addict, and YouTube. Please subscribe. Please rate. And please comment. I promise you I will answer that. This is Gene, and you've listened to Dumbasses Talking Politics.